Tonight, Americans and Laos for Freedom and Liberty are going to present to you a political program sharing the election results and
That's
exit
right.
polling for the presidential campaign in New Hampshire. And we are Dave and Diane. And I'm first going to share with you the results so far in the New Hampshire presidential election. It looks like Trump is winning with 34%. He's the projected winner. Kasich is coming in second with 15%. And Jeb and Cruz are tying for third place with 12%. And Rubio is about 10%. Christie 8%. Carly Fiorina 4%. Carson 2%. And Gilmore about 0.5%. And the upset, which was everyone was wondering, was in the Democrat race. It looks like Bernie Sanders is the projected winner with 58% and Hillary Clinton with 40%. So tonight we're going to, from time to time, talk about that. But in the meantime, Dave and I are going to share and talk about politics in America and the world, government, and questions that people might have.
Absolutely, Dr. Diane. A lot of people have questioned that why we have to get involved with election and government campaign, all this stuff. Why it's so important?
Well, in America, I think it's just as important everywhere. But in America, since I grew up here, I can tell you that part of our Constitution says that the government is of, by, and for the people. That means that we, the people, are the government. And whatever we do, however we participate, is what makes up our government.
It's like they said that no vote, no voice, right? So,
Well, our voice comes through a vote,
I
through
see.
blogging, through calling in on radio shows, TV shows. We have many opportunities, and also in local government, it's just regular, everyday Americans who run for office. They're not politicians. They often have other jobs, but they run for office because we know that government is of the people.
all right, yeah. So if people don't get more involved and more want to follow up all kind of campaign like this, how they get into the resource.
Well, when you're starting, I suggest you begin on the local level in the city where you live and follow the city council races and the school board races. And you can attend city council meetings, which are usually about once a month, and school board meetings, which are usually once a month. And that can get you started in understanding how things work, because there are certain rules with how we all participate in government.
Also, is it how each candidate, before they gonna get into the president campaign like this, how the beginning of the process, Dr. Dan?
For the presidential race?
Yes, how
Okay.
each person they get into that because they have a lot million people in this country. So how each person they get into that only how many people? Almost 12 people right now in the in the campaign candidate. I mean, president.
Well, to be realistic, you don't just go from working a job at home and then running for president next year.
Yeah.
There are many years of preparation in which people get elected to local office or state office. Many of the candidates running for president are currently or have been governors of various states around the country. So although many of us at a local level might like to be president, you have to also get money and people who will back you. It costs millions of dollars to run a campaign, because if you don't have money, the other guy does. And then he will outfox you and outsmart you and win because of his commercials or the different ability to use the media to be heard among the voters.
Oh, I see. And each candidate is when they have that is do they have to be born in USA citizen, or they just anywhere they can run for president?
Well, president is the only office
Mm.
in all the offices in America that you have to be natural born. And what that means is you have to have been born in America and 2 citizen parents at the time of your birth.
Mm.
Now, you do have to be a citizen in order to run for office and to vote, but you don't have to have been born here to be a citizen. If you came from another country and you become naturalized, you go through the classes and you become a citizen, then you can vote and run for office, but you just can't run for president. But you could run for governor. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was born in Europe, and he came here and became a citizen, and he became governor of California.
Even you only to become president, you have to born here, and even the parents or mom and dad have to born here. How about a parents, a mom and dad born different country, but they come here as refugee or what or legal something, but the kids born here can. That person born and raised here, the son and daughter, can run for president?
In one case, yes, and another, no. If both of the parents become citizens before their child is born, then their child is a natural born citizen. But if you come here and neither one of you parents are citizens and your child is born here, he or she is not natural born and cannot run for president, but he could run for every other office.
Except the president.
Except the president.
The governor, representative, all that stuff.
City council, school board, all of that.
I see. That's and so that's the question they have. Anything else you want to share and talk about more information about presidential campaign, all this stuff? Anything else you want to share to the audience?
Yes, but before we go to that, since we were talking about immigrants coming here and gaining citizenship, if you've come here, I suggest that everyone who can begin the citizenship process.
I see.
Because the government is of, by, and for the people, and then you become a part of the government when you become a citizen. Then you become a naturalized citizen. And it's very important. If you're going to live here and move here, it would be good. You should want to be a citizen and participate. And people want you to, but we want you to go through the proper classes and training so that you learn how it works. They teach you how it works and what it is to be a citizen and some about the history of America. So you're knowledgeable. And then it's really good to learn English. Many school districts provide English classes for immigrants. I know where I taught in Garden Grove Unified, we had a separate building on our high school site.
I see.
Where we had classes for immigrants to learn English and computers. So you check with the school district in which you live, and you can get some extra English classes.
Okay. Yes. And also, it's another come back to the about the vote again. So we skip that. Is this people who go vote for the president? Is it anybody or only the citizen people?
Only citizens can vote in any elections in America. And why is that? Well, if I went to your country, would you think I could vote in your country? I don't think so. I could go to Mexico or Canada or Laos or Cambodia or Japan, China. I can't vote there. Unless I'm a citizen.
I see.
It's that way with almost every country that I could think of. It just makes sense, doesn't
So
it?
how about people? They have their paper legally. Can they vote?
If they have the legal papers that they're naturalized, they're a citizen, they can vote. Now, some states are beginning to require voter ID because we've had such difficulty with people understanding this.
I see.
Some have been told, yeah, you can just come in and you can vote. Well, beware that those are the people who are wanting your vote so they can win by cheating. And that's not fair. America is known for being fair and having people who abide by the rules. George Washington once said that a country is really only as good as the people who follow the rules. And if you don't follow the rules, it causes havoc. And people are harmed who maybe should have won, but they didn't because people cheated. So it's very important that you think about why we have these rules. It brings fairness, harmony, a good feeling about the results.
I see. Yeah. Mm. Everything has to be organized, and the rule and regulation to make it more easier to organize and more neatness of the, the society and something like
Right.
that.
We want harmony in our
Harmony,
society and peace and safety. Harmony, peace, and safety are three important elements of every society that wants to replicate itself and go on and have children and families and continue to grow one generation to the next. If you have a lot of violence and havoc and people being harmed and killed, then your society is going to fall apart. But you want it to be strong and have good morals and good values so that our kids can grow up in a good society. And government is one of the instruments, there are others, one of the instruments to help for a good society. If your government is crooked and bad and isn't working right, you're going to have more problems in your society than where you have a government that runs smoothly with fairness.
That's right. That's right. Okay, because everything starts from the top. They have, yeah. They say that if the house is leaking, it's leaking from the top. That's good illustration. But anyway, anyone, usually the election, the president, what month is that?
What month is the election?
Election gonna be.
Well, I'm going to go over that specifically probably in half an hour after my husband gets here, but I'll give you an overview. What happens is Iowa is the first state to start with their caucuses, and they just had theirs about a week ago. And it's a very conservative state. And so far in the last few elections, that has really more predicted who's not going to win than who's going to win. Because Santorum and Huckabee both won in that state when they ran prior, and then they didn't win the presidency. But then when you get to New Hampshire, which is about a week later, it's tonight actually, those are the results I was telling you about earlier. New Hampshire is more of a moderate state to the right, and they only have about 24% evangelicals. And Iowa had about 64% evangelicals. So that's why Cruz was near the top in Iowa. And as we see tonight, we've already said the exit polls and the results that Trump is winning in the Republican side and Bernie Sanders is winning on the Democrat side. Bernie Sanders is considered more left-wing and liberal than Hillary, and Trump is considered a moderate candidate. And then we go on throughout all of the states around the country, clear until June. California has our election June 7th. They're called primaries. It's a primary. And then the general election that finalizes it in November is usually around November 4th, whatever that Tuesday is in November.
Oh, that November they can finalize who's winning, who will get the most point.
Right.
So, is it how many states is that conservative, and how many states is that is liberal? What do you call that?
Liberal?
Yeah. So, how many states is conservative?
Well, that can fluctuate, meaning that can change from year to year.
Oh, I see.
And this year we've seen, after 8 or 7 years of Obama, we've seen many states go back to conservatism, to the right, we call that, and to the left, they're liberals. Now, I know like in Thailand, I think it might be reversed. But in America, the conservative is on the right side, and the liberal is on the left. So we have, and these numbers may not be correct, but just to give you an estimate, we usually have more conservative states and fewer liberal states. But as in California and New York and other states that are liberal, they have more electoral votes.
I see.
And so if they win the whole state, they get a lot more votes than maybe 3 or 4 other conservative states. So the Electoral College is set up to make sure that there's fairness with the vast number differences between states.
Also, right now I see Republican, they have 10 people. Democrat only 2. Why is that? So what's different?
That's up to each party as to how many candidates run. I mean, and you know there are other parties, but I just want you to know the Democrat and Republican Party are usually the two that run a candidate because
see.
they're the biggest and have the most money.
The most money, most power.
Yeah, but usually they're people who have been either senators or House of Representatives or governors, or in this case, Trump is a wealthy businessman who has economic experience worldwide, and he knows how the economy works behind America and the world, and that's an important bit of information to have on one's resume.
I see. What can you tell the audience of today? And what's different Democrat and Republican? So why people they have these two giant parties, racing each other? What's different?
I could probably tell you almost everything on both sides, but that would take too long. So I will tell you basically that the Republican platform, we call it, that's their list of views, is generally moderate to conservative. And the liberal, the left side, their views are generally moderate to liberal. Well, what does that mean to you? Probably nothing, unless you know what's on the platform. You can find out what's on each party's platform. Just Google Republican Party or Democrat Party, and they'll have a website, and you look for platform, and that will list all of the issues they stand for. Generally, Republicans are pro-life. They think babies should be allowed to be born, and then if you can't take care of them, adopt them out.
I see.
But the Democrats think you should be allowed to abort babies, and that's one difference. Another one is that many on the right believe that we should allow prayer in the schools and that we should have free choice in education so that we don't have to just go to public schools. We could go to private schools or parochial schools, Christian schools or Catholic schools, that we should have a choice. And in the last 4 to 5 years, California has loosened up a little bit, in which we've gained a little bit of leeway in which people can sometimes go to a school district adjoining where they've gone. Usually in the past, people have been locked into going to school right where they live. Also, there's a way of governing. People believe on the right, as far as a Republican, that we should govern according to what the Constitution says. We should follow the rules of the Constitution. But we have seen in this last administration of Obama try to do whatever he wants and become his self-imposed dictator. Well, in the view of many, he's breaking the laws of the Constitution. And when that happens, it's written in the Constitution what you're supposed to do. We as a person, individual, can't do anything. Only the House, that's part of the Congress, can impeach a president. And if you think he should be impeached, then you need to lobby the House to tell them we'll be behind you, impeach the president. We have had a few impeachments in our history.
I see.
Clinton, Hillary's husband, Bill Clinton,
he's impeached.
was impeached, but he was not kicked out of office. It's usually only like for treason and high crimes and misdemeanors that you're actually kicked out of office. There was another one back in the 1800s who was impeached. I'm not sure. I think it was Johnson, but I would want to confirm that. So impeachment is a serious process. And then if they are impeached in the House, that's like they're indicted. Then it would move to the Senate for the Senate to try the case. And then just a couple more things, and then I'll move on to you.
Sure.
As far as what the Republicans and Democrats stand for. The Republicans believe that we should have lower taxes and that people should have more of their own money to spend. The Democrats want to tax, raise your taxes, and give it away around everybody, around the world, to the neighbors, everybody. And they want to bloat the government, we call it. That means cause more expenses of the government, have more on welfare, spend more money. But the people on the right have more of a view that the government should be smaller and we should allow the states to have more hands-on government, and county and local governments have more
I see.
hands-on
I
to
see.
the people.
So this that's what different between Democrat and Republican.
That's part of it. There's much more.
Much more.
But we could be here all night. And if you want to ask me later on in the show, maybe I'll think of
So
some
how
more
about
things.
we? Okay, if you say that, oh, I don't want to be part of Democrat. I don't want to be part of Republican. Can you set your own party? Can you do that? Or to
Well, there's two answers to that, yes. But secondly, there are many others to choose from that are pretty well established.
I see.
Independent party, they don't seem to have many leaders, but
I see.
maybe we should emerge some leaders from the independent party, since it's now about a third of the voters in California in the last 5-6 years. They have Peace and Freedom, Constitution Party, quite a few
I heard there's
parties.
And also the Green, what's that? Something?
Green Party,
Green
that's
Party.
a socialist party.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And the Constitution Party, of course, wants to follow the Constitution, which I personally think is a good thing. But
So these are the Democrat and Republican. These are most stand out in our country.
they have the most members,
Members.
and the most money,
I see. I see.
and the most voters.
What voters? So how about you? Are you Republican or Democrat or just independent?
Well, do you think I should say? I don't think we should say,
Okay.
because we want to be objective,
Objective.
and we're trying to remain objective here
I
to
see.
give fairness so that all sides can be heard.
Okay.
And we love and accept people as our friends, no matter what party they are.
All right. That's
And then it's part of America's.
exactly.
It's part of America's citizens' responsibility to then persuade people.
See, that's why I like about American politics here, our country. We raise it. Who's the best?
Yeah.
Bring all all the best of knowledge and talent. Let the people decide which one they're gonna pick, right?
Now, actually, I'm pretty much of a party leader. I'm a strong activist.
Oh, I see.
But I have not endorsed anyone because I believe, personally, it's just my personal viewpoint,
Sure.
that individuals should win it on their own merit.
I see.
Sometimes I wish we didn't have endorsements, that people just gave them money and blogged and persuaded and discussed. Because endorsements sometimes sway people rather than listening to who the candidate is and what the candidate is about.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why we need to look carefully. That's why we have to go get the vote and who's the best president of our country. Because it's very important. We need to get strong leadership for our country. That's what we need it. So to make economy, educational, or our cultural more stronger and better. You
It
think
does,
so?
yes, and it
Think
helps
so?
us to feel a part of our country and our society. Now, once a candidate has won in the Democrat and the Republican Party, that would be after the final primaries in June, then usually we have a healing process for the summer in which the individuals of each party all coalesce together and come behind their candidate. And if you still can't decide one or the other, then it's probably a good idea for you a while until you figure out how everything works to maybe be independent and then vote for the one you think is better. And then eventually, when you're sure which way you're thinking, then go to one party or the other.
So that's good. I'll come back to the about president candidate. For example, if the president we selected, if do something wrong and that, is this the president can go to jail or can do whatever he want to do, or anyone can who have power to impeach or take out the office? What departments that have the power? To
Okay,
that?
well, I talked earlier about how it's only the House that can impeach, but a lot of people, I hear an underlying question there. A lot of people have a question, why can't we arrest him or take him to court if he's breaking these laws. Well, the reason the impeachment process was set up is so that a president doesn't spend his whole time in office in court, because that would keep him from functioning in his job. So you cannot sue the president during his presidency. Only the House can impeach. But of course, there can be suits about his decisions he's made, maybe some of his policies and things. There are different parts of how you could sue in court. But he can be sued as an individual
I see.
when he's out of office. Did you know that?
Oh.
When he's out of office, he could be sued for all of the alleged
misleading
things that people feel a person has done.
I see.
And I wonder if that will happen.
See. So that's about if the president did make something wrong or did something illegal. Put it this way, we cannot sue him until if he out of office. That's the only way you can do that.
Right. And he's limited to 2 terms. So the longest he could go is 8 years. And
8
Obama has 1 more year. So it's not going to be 20 or 30 years of a regime that you're waiting to do this.
Like other country, 30 years is going to be become more chaos. So, and usually when in high school, we have been studying in history. They said that the president, he have limited power. He cannot decide everything for himself. They have to be, if you have decide anything, supposed to be have Democrat and Republican come together and talk together and decide what they're gonna do, right? What's the history?
Well, we have the 3 branches of government. The executive branch is the executive, the president. We have the judicial branch, which is topped with the Supreme Court.
I see.
And then we have the legislative branch, which is Congress. Only Congress can make laws. Now, laws can originate in either the House or the Senate, but both of them have to pass a bill, and then it's sent to the president. The president can veto it. If he vetoes it, then it can be overridden by Congress, but that rarely happens. That was tried this last month about Obamacare, but they weren't able to override the veto. And then there was some more to that question. Did I answer everything that you had on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, for example, they make the law. If the law, we don't like it, or any, I think the law is not effective to the society or that, can we change it, Dr. Dan? For some law, like people are abusing it. I don't want to mention that. But if the law, the Congress make and it's not effective for the people, or harm people, or it's not work, so can we change it?
Well, we have 4 levels of government, and it's important that you know that. Every city has law, which they call city ordinances. And that's like the speed limit. That's when your policeman can give you a ticket for going too fast or running a red light. And then we'll have some county ordinances, and we have like County Department of Ed, and we have the in our area, Orange County Sheriffs. And they might be called something else other than county in other states, but most of them are counties. And then you have state law. You mostly feel state law in your states. But then you have federal government that's above it. But that doesn't mean it's the end all to everything. Because in your state government, you abide by these laws. Your education is set up on a state level. You have state highway patrol. You have state senators, the state legislature. We have a whole government structure in every state. But then the federal government is supposed to be limited with only a few powers. They have the ability to do the army. The House has the ability to tax, to levy tax. That's all in the Constitution. And to make laws. But they don't make local laws. They make laws that affect, for instance, commerce. That means business. We have, if it's interstate commerce. Now, if you have business or commerce in your own state that doesn't cross state lines, then that comes under the state law. And when people sue, they begin in their local area, and then it might go to the state Supreme Court, and then if people appeal and they want a higher hearing, then the Supreme Court will hear only maybe 1% of those that are presented to it, because it's the final entity that decides, and it's the Supreme Court that is given the responsibility to interpret the Constitution.
I see.
So that's why you see it's a little more intricate than, it's not the federal government making laws for everybody down to the local level. I mean, the laws are for everybody, but they're not all our laws. And we have what we call jurisdiction. If we live in a city, we're in the jurisdiction of that city. We're in the jurisdiction of the larger circle, the county. We're in the jurisdiction of the state. And then the overall jurisdiction of the federal government surrounds us all.
After we out this country, then international law, they have local law, state law, and federal law, right?
But America is not under jurisdiction of any other law. They have international law that perhaps the UN and others are involved in, but that's only in cases where maybe it's crimes on the high seas or war or massacres of people and large disagreements among countries, and they'll go to the UN. But there are those who are trying to bring one world order to have international law. But many people, especially those who are Republicans, don't agree with that because we believe then we would lose our identity and what we call sovereignty as a nation.
I see. How about that right now? We have internet, phone, and right now we see go everywhere. We have camera everywhere, all this stuff. Is this not violate our privacy? You think they have, the camera set everywhere? Is this
Well, that's been a great discussion when the Patriot Act was passed in the last 15 years.
I see.
When Bush was president. And we have rules like the Fourth Amendment.
I see.
Says you have to have reasonable cause, probable cause, to be arrested, or people come in your homes. You have to have proper papers. The police just can't come in your house without probable cause, and usually they have to go to a judge to get that. And it's the same with listening. People are not supposed to listen on your phone or in your house. They have devices they can hear through your house, but they have to get a judge's order to be able to do that, and have a reason where maybe you're a criminal and you're hiding dope or something. If they think you are, they have reason to believe that.
I see.
That's probable cause. Then on your case, they might be able to do that. But we did used to have many more freedoms when I was a kid. I can remember we never would have thought that anybody could sit out in a car and listen into our house. Well, now there's that capability. And now with the satellites we have, they can see what's on a quarter from the satellite.
Wow.
So they could see us.
Send from satellite here, they can see
if we're standing outside,
wow,
they could see us. It's scary on the one hand, and then on the other, if you have a good government that protects you and doesn't abuse you, then you want them to have that. So the key is to have a good government.
Exactly.
And if you're a government of, by, and for the people, and we're making sure they don't go beyond their bounds, what's right and what's fair, and they don't come in and beat us and abuse us just for being regular people, then some people are going to think it's okay.
Exactly. No, I think it's a high technology. If we have that, it's good for the country. Like phone, very convenient. Like anything we do, if we have a good high tech, That's good for the business. Good for if you have good car, electric car, all that stuff. It's good for the transportation. All that. It's very good. But we have, like you said, we have to have right government to make right decision for the country, not against us, but
Right.
work for us. That's why we election. The government or the senate or the city or that supposed to be work for the people.
Well, and you bring up a good point.
Mm-hmm.
The government is supposed to work for us
Mm-hmm.
and not overlord
Mm-hmm.
on us and tell us what to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're there to serve and protect
Mm-hmm.
and to provide harmony in our society and safety.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get out of line, then it's up to the people to speak up, vote them out,
Mm-hmm.
or write them letters or speak up as to they don't like being treated like this. So that's where it becomes a government of the people.
Mm-hmm.
When we begin to lobby, talk to our officials, write letters to our Congress members, then we can make sure things are not done against the will of the people.
That's right. That's right. And also, right, it came out on the news very, very. I see it pop out everywhere about Second Amendment. They want to ban the gun for the people, and then what we look at, right. Second Amendment supposed to be protect the people. People should have a gun. You see the San Bernardino people die and get killed, and September 11 all that happened, and a lot friends, people got killed. All this stuff we see that, but now I don't know what's going on. The government or what that try to control the gun because they thought the gun to kill more people in the country. But I see that maybe people got chopped the head off everywhere. We supposed to be run and work out the problem, the thing to hurt our people, So instead, better than come try to control everything. The people in here, we should control our enemy, So what do you think about that? Is about Second Amendment? What's good for, or is it bad for our country, or good for our country? Second Amendment.
Well, this is a much more complex issue than when you first look at it. Now, in the 1780s, when our founding fathers wrote the Constitution, the Second Amendment was to ensure the people would have guns and the right to protect themselves against the government. Why was that? Because history shows us, in many cases, with the Boxer Rebellion and in China and many countries around the world, that where dictators arose, they often took the guns away from the people first. And then they would kill off millions of people. Well, why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense to me, but their logic was that they wanted to have fewer people, fewer problems to be able to control those who are left. Well, if you'd just seen 40 million people in your society killed, you'd be pretty reticent to speak up much, wouldn't you? You'd kind of hold back and be worried to say much, and you'd be fearful. Well, that's not the kind of society that the founding fathers wanted. They wanted the people to have freedoms, including freedoms of speech, religion, and the right to protect themselves, to bear arms, we call it, to have guns. Most of the limitations on guns that people are writing laws about are generally the types of guns, like whether they should be allowed to have AK-47s, machine guns, or the ballistic kind of weaponry that you can hold on your shoulder, or should they have all these sophisticated weapons that, rather than just a pistol or a shotgun. Well, in this day and age, a pistol or a shotgun isn't going to do a lot if somebody has an AK-47 and they come in your workplace and start mowing people down.
That's right. That's right.
So many people think we should be able to have an AK-47 or we won't be able to protect ourselves and our families. And who are these people who are coming in killing people?
Exactly.
Well, that's what we need to look at. More the reason of who and why are these people killing others. And if we take away the guns from the good citizens, the good people who want to protect themselves, make a law for that, take our guns away, do you think the murderers, the thieves, the rapists, and the terrorists are going to turn in their guns?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
When I think last 20 years, I believe, when they robbed the bank, they said the downtown area, remember? 4 guy or 5 guy have the machine gun.
Right.
Our police, what? They have, don't have...
Revolvers.
Yeah, revolver. They can, how can beat them, they fight with them.
Yeah.
They have to call SWAT before they come. SWAT team come, our good the men and the women serving the protect our country die first before that SWAT team come to take care of that. That's why I think that the gun when I came to USA, I become security. When I go apply for full arm security, they check. It's not easy, check. That's good to have that. Check background, check everything. But nowadays, like 20 years ago, we have the society change. The people more get the gun everywhere, So, but I talk about the bad people. So now the good citizen, they have good gun, so we can lot and they can shoot everybody. We see at like San Bernardino, if 14 people die because we don't have the staff don't have any gun at all. At least somebody have to train and have gun inside there, and when they come, they at least scare them out, protect them, but at least maybe hurt one couple people. So then we can, I think we have lesson to learn. It's not about guns bad, but the people handle guns. Right now, we don't know who's and who's.
But here's where we look to the lesson of history. And history tells us, don't give up your guns to the government if you want to live. That's what history shows us.
So that means we have guns better than no gun.
Yeah, we should have guns to protect ourselves in the event that perhaps the government came against us. But now we have something greater. See, America has traditionally been somewhat physically isolated as kind of a country unto itself with broad oceans on both sides. Well, now they're letting people run in through our southern borders, many terrorists coming in with them. And for the first time in my lifetime, we are now having terrorists among us, which is even more reason to be able to keep your guns. Wouldn't you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because they're certainly not going to hold back.
No way. So because we've seen already a lot of time people rob the bank, people killing over there in France, for example. France, no gun.
The people had no gun.
But who died the most? The people.
But the killers had guns.
Okay, how many people did die? 100-something people.
Yes.
And hurt. That's why it's good to have that. I see it the way I see it.
And why is this in politics? Because it's the law now in the Constitution that people have the right to have a gun or bear arms. That's what that means.
Yeah. How about this? Right now they make a law right now. They pass the law. Second Amendment, people should ban the gun. Or they pass the law now, or still have people still?
There are some types of guns that you can't have, and I don't know all the different types you can't have, but you would find that out when you go to the gun store. They can tell you what kind. They sell the ones you can have and don't sell the ones you can't. So that's how you learn about it directly. You can also look on the internet for a lot of information.
Yeah, I think at Dr. Wiley Church, they have a training too, how to protect yourself, self-defense, or something about gun. And also, when I went to after the San Bernardino killing, then a couple of days later, I went to gun shop. I asked them, what's the legal to handle the gun, the big gun. They said that you can buy the big gun, but only 10 bullets to have that. So other than that, or you can buy 9 millimeter or something.
Now, I don't recall if that's a state law or federal law. Do you recall?
I
I know California is more strict than many states.
I see.
Like in Arizona, you can open carry. My family was from there from the early 1900s. You can carry a revolver on your hip as long as you can see it, as long as it's not concealed.
Oh, I see. That's good to have that. I saw a lot of state that I thought, hey, why people carry gun in a restaurant? Even I think as in Wisconsin they have some people carry, and then Texas, right? Texas they carry the gun everywhere too.
Well, my grandma and aunt lived in Arizona when it was still a territory. And my great aunt Mary used to carry a gun on her hip, and boy, they had to in those days, 100 years ago, because police weren't at every corner. You lived out on lands by yourself, far from the city, and you had to carry guns for your preservation, and everybody carried a gun.
Absolutely. In my country, the people carry gun everywhere to go hunting or everywhere, So, and also, how many states they allow you carry gun walk on the street?
I don't know all the ones, but it's not very many. So you need, and more have been adding those. So if you're going to be in a state and live there and go through, make sure you know the laws before you go through. But I'd like to point out, the main point here is the mind of the individual who's carrying guns. Are they inclined to follow the rules and respect the lives of others? Then that would be a good citizen who could carry a gun. But if they're going to carry a gun because they want to commit evil deeds, rob and steal from people, then that's the question of difficulty. So that's why we have police, etc. But many of these incidents that have happened in the last 5-10 years have often been individuals who are mentally unstable. So there's been question about our mental health ability to recognize these individuals before they commit crimes.
I see.
That's the hard part.
Wow. So that's very good because that's a hot topic. We want to bring it up because I see they came out in the news every day. Take a lot of month to and to discuss on it. I saw president they talk on TV about this Second Amendment. A lot of people not happy. A lot of people they go back and forth. So and anyway, so we have to find out some more on that. So do you have anything else about presidential campaign, all this stuff you want to talk about, Dr. Diane?
Well, just to refresh, in case you didn't hear at
Sure.
the beginning, so far the polls are showing in New Hampshire for president that on the Republican side, Trump is ahead with about 34%.
I see.
And Kasich is coming in second with 16%. And of course, he didn't come in very near to the top in the conservative state of Iowa, but New Hampshire is more moderate. And then Jeb Bush and Cruz are tied for third, or very close. It looks like Cruz has just edged out a little bit with 12%, and Jeb has 11%, and Marco Rubio has 11%, and Christie has 8%, Carly Fiorina 4%, Carson 2%, and Gilmore 0.5%. Now, I've met Governor Gilmore, governor of Virginia, many years ago, sat and talked with him quite at length, and I heard him on the radio a couple of days ago. He's a very good candidate, a very good person.
I see.
I don't know why this gentleman hasn't risen more in the debates or anything that's occurred. This is kind of a mystery to me. But if you're unsure of who to vote for, your vote for him probably at this point wouldn't count much because it's too far into the primaries. But perhaps they will remember him when making appointments of who's ever elected.
Sure.
And then on the Democrat side, some people were wondering if Bernie Sanders was going to win, and it looks like he's running away with it, at 58% and Hillary Clinton at 40%. Now, if you listen to Bernie Sanders, he's like a grandfather who wants to give everything away to you. He wants to get everything from somebody and give it to you. Okay, but we are a society that has been built on people working hard and providing for themselves. That has been the strength of America.
Exactly.
And now we have almost 50% under our current president, Obama, almost 50% of workers who are on welfare. If it weren't for welfare, I think we'd look like the 1930s Depression with soup lines and people in lines. But now we have welfare to give money. This is really concerning to many people. And if he's elected, what would happen? Would he continue to give?
We still continue to stay broke.
Yeah. And what would happen? How long would the people who work put
I
up
think
with
that
that?
the Republicans they said that we need to. It's not just giving. We have to teach people. We give, but also we teach people how to.
Work.
What's that? Work too. The same time. You don't give them just a fish. Teach them how to fish too. That's why that life. This a country stand for. They just give out. It's like gonna make our countries weak.
Well,
So yeah, we can help, but also they need to help themselves too.
Well,
So-
this is a weakness we see in the Obama administration, that he has voted or vetoed bills that would have provided jobs. For instance, the pipeline, it could have provided thousands of jobs, and he vetoed it. And so the Congress hasn't been able to make jobs because President Obama vetoes them. So is this going to be the signature of his 4 or 8 years in office, that he has killed jobs and put people on welfare? I mean, that's not a legacy I would be too pleased to leave if I were president. But so far, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, how about I still have question. I don't stay in much about Obamacare, all this stuff. Why they have Obamacare on this? And can you explain? Is this good for the community or country? Is this I don't know much about it because why we have this system come in? Is this our country doesn't have good enough health care to for the people, or then they Obama create this Obamacare coming up, or is it to solve
Well,
the problem?
I'm going to be frank
Okay.
with this answer, which I believe is honest. And it has nothing to do with what nationality you are. It's just the economics of it. Healthcare has traditionally been in what we call the private sector, meaning that it was not the government regulating it or paying through it. You had private companies, insurance companies,
I see.
that you would pay into. You'd pay for your health insurance, and with all this pool of money from people who work, then you would, if you're sick this year and maybe everybody else you work with at work hasn't gotten sick, you'll get some medical help, and maybe next year another person will get sick, so that you never have to pay the full cost. But it's spread around all those who have bought insurance, who have paid into it. Now, in a society where at least 70% of the people work, or 80% of the people work, that's going to work fine. And you're going to get really good health care because there'll be plenty of money to pay for everybody's health care needs. But we have had an unprecedented amount of illegal immigrants coming into our country in the last 20, 30 years. Now, we love immigrants.
Absolutely, yeah.
That has nothing to do with it, how we
Yeah.
feel about them, but I'm explaining the economics of it. So what happens is they come in, and many of them are on welfare. So they're not paying into healthcare insurance companies. And so then when they go to get health care, they haven't paid into it. So it comes from all the pool of all the people who've paid into it. And then pretty soon it empties down, and there's not enough to take care of all the ones who paid into it,
I
who
see.
deserve what they've earned. And those who who've come in without getting jobs and haven't come through the legal system and haven't given us time to absorb you. That means that if you come in at a certain number, then we can educate you, get you jobs, and then you can pay into the health insurance. It's all economics, really. And in California, we just about got under. We were paying $5 billion to illegal immigrants in 1993 when I researched it. It's so bad now you can't even find those numbers in their budget. They're hiding it from us. But it's probably 40-50 billion a year California is paying for illegal immigrant costs. Now, what would be better is if you came in fewer numbers, spread out over the country, got educated, and then get jobs, assimilate, follow our rules, follow the rules of how it works for harmony, security, safety for everybody. And then you could pay into the health insurance and we'd all have great health insurance. But what has happened now is we have almost 50% who are not working. So they don't have money to pay into the healthcare pool. So the 50% over here who are working are paying for the health care of everybody. So that means everybody gets just minimal health care now. Just hardly enough to treat your colds and minimal things. And because there's not enough money to go around. Now, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's wow, that's deep. That's very deep. So you let everyone know. But here's is it when the Obamacare, is it gonna solve any problem on this? Or I mean, they make the law out of this. Anyone, 50 states have to have Obamacare on this. So I didn't.
Well, states have abilities to sue. Many have sued the federal government. They don't want to have Obamacare. See, each state can kind of react how they want, but California has pretty much gone along with it because we're a liberal state. But it's unfortunate because what has happened, which is pretty typical with anything run by the government, is it costs a lot more than it would with a private company. And the services and benefits are less because many believe, and it often shows, that the government gets their hands in the pot and gets it and uses it for other things. And then our services go down.
Go ahead.
It's a difficult thing because everybody, we love people. We care about others. America is known for being a caring country. People who wish we could feed and help the rest of the world, but we're only 350 million with an M million people. But there are 7 billion people in the world. So it's absolutely impossible for America to take care of the whole world. If you took every dollar we had, it'd be like a drop in the bucket for the world because everybody in the rest of the world needs to work too.
Absolutely.
So we wish we could. So what America has tried to do, and it's worked pretty good, but not in all areas, is teach people how to work. Efficiently to make money, get educated, have good health care, have good health habits among families, how to have good nutrition, because that makes you healthier without having to see a doctor as often. So that's what America has traditionally done because we understand we can't feed and pay for the whole world. But if we can educate them, then everybody has a chance.
I think it's more better if we give and training. And why they growing, so or not just stay there and don't do anything, So when they came USA the first time, that's why we have they have provide everything, health care and the support. But now, of 10 years later, now, we need to get out from that system. Then quick and do a thing, Why we?
I would prefer that we go back to the private system. But on the other hand, we have to go along with it
Yeah.
is to get our immigrants to become citizens and to get jobs for all these who are not employed.
Exactly.
Then it will work again.
That's why we need to improve our immigration. Like you said, a lot immigrant illegal here